How's it going, everyone? It's Indy here with Ultimate Tool Reviews. And if you follow my channel, you know that I do a lot of, those Amazon, tool brands out there, a lot of crazy names they have. And, it's not possible for any one brand or person to really cover, every single one of those tools. There's probably 100+ new tools on Amazon a day. There's no way you can go through all those tools and figure out, which one's good, which one's bad. Now, if you see my reviews, I try to stay honest as possible with the tools. I'll point out the good stuff, the bad stuff about the tools. But if you're wondering how to find, the best tools out there, or just find a tool that's not going to be terrible, I've got a couple tips for you just from what I've seen, testing out a lot of these tools. I've bought a few tools myself over the years. But I get a lot of them in. I like to check out the Amazon, their page for them. Now I will say this isn't going to cover, this is not like a hard and fast rule for every single situation on Amazon. This is just what I've seen and kind of my, best advice for really buying just the best quality tools at the best price on Amazon. It's like, if you need like one tool, that's not really, you don't really need the Makita version or the DeWalt version or the Milwaukee version of that tool. You need it, a couple times a year. You don't really care about that tool. That's always a great option for buying, just a kind of like a single-use tool. It's kind of like the new Harbor Freight now is kind of Amazon. And that's kind of where they've kind of gone a lot of times, a lot of those cheaper tool brands on there. And I will say, I'm not going to mention any brands, pros or cons, of any brand. I'm going to stay very neutral in this video, and this video is not sponsored at all. You got to be careful with some of these brands. I don't sign any contracts or anything that says I can say or can't say stuff about any of these tools. But one YouTuber, Mancaver Tools, he did learn the hard way, unfortunately, with one of those brands, where he did talk not so nicely about one of the brands, and I think they threatened to sue him, possibly. Not really entirely sure what happened in that situation there, but I need to take a bunch of videos down where he had those brands in there, and I definitely want to avoid that myself. So I'm not going to talk about any brands in this video at all, for pro or for con at all. So my first tip that I recommend is when you're checking out the tool on Amazon, check and see if it has additional stuff with it. And what I mean by that is, say you're buying like an impact wrench on Amazon, like a cordless one or even a corded one. Does it have, additional sockets with it? That's what I always like to check for. Now, I found usually, and I really haven't seen this, not be the case so far, but if there's additional sockets with a tool or any other type of, like you buy something that comes with like 15 more blades with it, or you buy a drill and it comes with like, 35 bits with it, usually what they're trying to do there, and this is just my best guess, honestly, is that they are trying to attract people who are not really in the tools too much. Maybe they have less experience with tools, and they think, oh yeah, I can just buy that. It comes with sockets already. I can save, 20, 30, 40 bucks not buying sockets as well, and I'll buy this tool. Because of course, they're gonna make that money up somewhere, and that's what they're gonna make up, is having a cheaper tool. So that's my first tip, is watch out for the extra stuff in those tools, because unfortunately, that's how they kind of can get you there with a cheaper tool. When you start seeing that free stuff in there, you're like, wow, that's a great deal. it's 70 bucks for this tool. I get a battery or two. I get this whole socket set. That's awesome. Now, I will say this, a lot of the bit sets that I've got, well, pretty much all of them have been just absolutely terrible. So any type of impact bits, drill bits, they've all been just horrible. But any impact sockets that I've got have actually been phenomenal. There is one brand that I've got, who I won't mention. I did get in, it was with one of their impact wrenches. Basically, they gave me like a shadow foam style thing with all their sockets in it. And it was actually really cool. I'm surprised the pricing on it too. It was really, really neat actually. And the quality of those was surprisingly good. So I was quite surprised there. Now, of course, it's not going to be for every single brand, but that's just something I've seen. If I start getting a tool in and I see a bunch of free stuff in the box, bits and sockets, I kind of can know pretty quick that, hey, they got to take the money somewhere, and that's going to be out of the quality of the tool. All right, my next tip number 2 here, is check out the brand. Whatever the brand is called, a lot of brands that are, they're trying to be better, they're trying to really make a name for themselves. What they'll start doing is they'll start making multiple tools that can use the same battery. Of course, tools like Makita, DeWalt, Ryobi, anyone you find in the stores now, they're trying to do that. They try to have, the biggest tool selection that uses the same type of battery. There are certain brands out there that do that on Amazon. Most of them are like around 10, 15 tools. There's not a lot of them out there, but when you start seeing that, that's how you know they're trying to make a better quality tool, and they're using a lot more of their own in-house quality control, their own in-house factory at times, not all the time, but they're really trying to make a full brand and not really looking to give up on that brand anytime soon. So of course they're trying to keep that quality up. So if you're saying, like, say you're looking for maybe like a new impact driver on Amazon, and you check out the brand and you look at all the other tools there, and there's no other tool that also use that same battery. All the other tools are different colors, there's no clear indication this tool is compatible, or batteries are compatible with any other tools that they currently sell, even though they have the same name on them. That's one indication that, hey, this tool is definitely going to be just a toss-up. Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? That's how I know you're kind of spinning the roulette there on tool quality. Having those tools, just so many of them, and they're using different battery packs for every single one, what they're probably doing is just saying, hey, they're finding factories in China, they're just making that one tool with those batteries just as one kit, and they're not looking to actually get those tools all uniform and universally using the same battery packs. Now, I'm not saying those are going to be necessarily bad tools, but I'm going to be saying that's a tool that's looking to become abandoned quite quickly. It's not going to be necessarily around for very long. And of course, by having that, as their motivation, they're not looking to actually make a quality tool. So that's kind of one of the big things I've seen. If you can find a brand on Amazon that also uses the battery packs and other tools, and it's quite clear from some of their ads, that's going to be a better quality tool and something to definitely look out for. All right, tip number 3. Let's use this Makita impact wrench as an example here. Let's say you're looking for an impact driver. This is just going to be like, this is an impact wrench here. This is going to be like your standard size impact wrench. It's not a mid torque, it's not a high torque. This thing puts out, just a couple hundred foot-pounds of torque. It's not going to be, anything crazy. Now, if you see a tool on Amazon that looks similar in size to this, similar in weight, and it's using, a cheaper battery, you could say too. Is it making claims that it's putting out, 500, 600, 700, 800 foot-pounds of torque? Then they're lying, definitely, because if DeWalt's not doing it, Milwaukee's not doing it, and Makita's not doing it, if they can't put out a tool that's putting out that much power in that small a package, they're definitely lying. And I know Torque Test Channel's done a lot of testing on those tools. You can test out or look at reviews on those tools on YouTube if someone's got them already. You can tell really quick, if it's a small tool and they're saying, oh yeah, it's putting out 700 foot-pounds of torque, and you're like, there's no way, because no other brand is doing that, and the tool's like $100, that's how you know that, there's a lot of baloney going on there with that tool, especially with that ad. So I really wouldn't trust a brand or even that tool that has, some just absurd, wild claims there with the tool, when you definitely know for a fact those spec numbers are not correct. So that's my next tip there. Definitely something to look out for. Always check whatever specs they claim on those tools. If there's like some type of tool that you're like, it's claiming like IP68 ratings. Is that tool really made to IP68 ratings? That's basically full waterproof, full dust proof, and you can submerge it in water. Is that going to be true? That's interesting, because like Metabo HPT, a very well-known brand, only is up to IP56, and if they probably could go higher, they definitely would. So definitely compare to other brands. Not just saying a brand on Amazon can't do better, but if it can't really compare to other brands that are already been doing it at much larger companies that have a lot more R&D money, how can they all of a sudden now do it and sell it for cheaper? It's always something to always take into account whenever you're buying tools on Amazon. All right, and my final tip number 3 is what I always look for whenever I, even I get an offer from someone to send me a tool. I check out the ad on Amazon first, and I like to look for proper grammar on the ad. Now, is the grammar on there going to be, kind of crazy? Is it, maybe they use Google Translate to make it? If it sounds a little weird on Amazon, you're like, that maybe wasn't written properly out, for whatever reason. I usually find those tools to be of subpar quality. If you can't spend the time on Amazon to make the ad, sound really good, and with proper grammar, how good is that tool going to be then? What other shortcuts were taken there? So that's one thing that I always look for very carefully. That also leads into another point too, is I will say a lot of the reviews on Amazon, they can definitely be faked very easily. I actually had a friend who, he discovered this company. I don't know how they did it exactly, but what they would do is they would say, hey, we'll send you some of the stuff on Amazon. All you got to do is buy something on Amazon. We'll PayPal you whatever it costs, and then just leave us a review for it. I don't know how that was even possible or how Amazon lets that get away with that, but I'm sure that's probably still very rampant on Amazon. So I don't trust any tool reviews on Amazon from any brands that I don't recommend. The only tool reviews I generally trust are going to be stuff on like, other YouTubers for the most part. Is what I like to look for. If I'm looking for like a Makita tool review, I'm going to check other YouTubers and see how they like it so far. They're always looking to have just, full honesty whenever they do reviews, and that's a big key. A lot of reviews, I don't trust a lot of, written reviews, especially like Harbor Freight reviews. Those don't seem very legitimate either. But when it comes to Amazon reviews, I don't care if it's got no reviews or it's got 10,000 reviews. I don't trust either or. That's just my thing. They seem like they're so easy to be faked, and it's just nothing I would trust ever. But going back to grammar, you can always check that out. Checking out how well stuff is in the photos. Is there a lot of Photoshop going on? Do they just find a stock photo, their tool, Photoshop it together? Is that what happened? So that is one thing you can always check out. So guys, in conclusion, first thing you can always check is going to be, is there extras with that tool? Is there extra sockets with that tool? Is there extra bits with that tool? If so, it's likely to be a cheaper tool. Secondly, is there wild claims about that tool? Is there going to be, just claims that don't make any sense, that they're just, way outlandish, that, hey, this little impact driver is putting out, 2,000 inch-pounds of torque and it's only $60? That doesn't really sound logical at all. And then finally, make sure you check the grammar out in the ads. You can always check out that stuff, check out the photos in the ads. Is it clearly Photoshop stuff? Do they take the time to actually take their own photos? Is the grammar not making sense? Does it seem a little fishy, with how the grammar works? And guys, with these 3 tips, that should help you to basically able to find, better quality products on Amazon. And that's kind of just my 3 tips that I've seen from reviewing just tons and tons of Amazon tools now, buying some myself, getting a bunch of them sent to me for free. I like to see, what's the best way to do it. Of course, I'm not going to name any names of brands, for good or for bad. But that's just my 3 tips there on what you can do to hopefully get a better quality tool, just from my experience of what I've seen, not hard and fast rules, but that's what I've got so far, guys. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video, guys. And take care. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.